How's it going, people? A few words of wisdom. So, it seems to me that a lot of event planning and event staff don't take time to think about the basics. I realize some events are worried about making money. They're worried about this. They're worried about that. I will tell you from an event planner standpoint, I never thought about making money. What I thought about was giving a good event and the most enjoyable event possible and to plan accordingly. But here's where I see a lot of events and event staff falling short. When you have an event and you're calling it a specific period of time, you need to plan accordingly. In other words, if you're having a June 1941 Eastern Front event, well, guess what? The Germans need to bring the pain. There need to be a smaller number of Soviets. The Germans have to have a commanding advantage in manpower and equipment. And, you Soviet reenactors, you come out and be prepared to have your ass handed to you. Be prepared to be thrown about the field. The same is according if you're having a 1944 or late 44, early 45 event, Eastern Front. The Germans should not be outnumbering the Soviets 2, 3, 4 to 1. The Germans should not have an overwhelming advantage in anything. But yet, it's allowed to happen at events. Now, there's two people to blame for this. Number one, the event staff, because the event staff are worried about having money or making as many people happy as they can, not understanding the detriment that they actually do to the hobby. And then the Red Army staff is also somewhat to blame, because really simply, if you don't tell the event staff, hey, look, guys, we need to have some sort of parity in numbers. You need to put a cap on the Germans. Yeah, you're disenfranchising some German reenactors. Yeah, it's going to piss some German reenactors off. But what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up burning out your Soviet reenactors. You're going to have a lot of Soviet reenactors who are going to come out. They're going to get discouraged. They'll walk off the field halfway through the day. You'll get some of the guys, and you know the ones I'm talking about, the ones who are barely showing up at anything, the ones who have a lot of shit going on in their life, and they're maybe not real dedicated to reenacting. They're just going to quit coming. They're just going to quit coming. Also, another advantage of putting a cap is if some of these Germans really want to go play, well, they can play in a Soviet uniform or partisan kit or whatever. If you put numbers on who can attend, if you put, hey, I can only have this many, and if you don't make that grade, your only other chance is to come as Soviet or partisan, well, nobody's telling you can't come. You can come. You just can come in a Soviet uniform or a partisan kit. I mean, that's not the end of the world. Now, I realize there are some of you Aryan gods out there, who will never do anything but German. That's cool. I also realize there are Soviet reenactors who would never dare touch anything fascist or put anything there on their body. I get that. You're going to have that. But what this does is it also ensures for the event staff that if you put a cap on your numbers, you're going to force reenactors to get off their ass and register early. I always hear all this bugaboo about reenactors procrastinating. Dude, I'm one of them. I'll tell you, I procrastinate. Hell yeah. I got a bunch of shit going on. PayPal has made people procrastinate. This isn't like the old days where they used to mail out an event flyer. You got that, you talked to your buddies, and you all mailed your shit in. And if you didn't mail your shit in, well, hey, tough titty. Or you're going to pay like a super high price at the gate when you got there. This isn't the old days anymore. We don't do like that. But if you say, hey, look, until I get at least 75 Soviets, I'm going to cap German registration at 100. Well, guess what? If you're one of those Aryan gods who won't ever wear any commie crap, you better get your damn money in and be one of the first 100. And honestly, folks, I mean, if you're worried about making money at the event, then I get it. But what I'm telling you, if you don't cap your numbers, if you don't put a little more thought into your logistics, you're not doing the hobby a favor. You cap your numbers, you get the numbers out, you get the money in, you can start adding amenities. I'm just shocked at the events now that don't offer amenities like food rations. Dude, I got 2 field kitchens. Food can be had in an event without a whole lot of fucking extra bullshit. There are people out there who will do it. Yeah, I'm one of them. And it's funny because I was talking to a guy who I'd done reenacting with, God, probably 30 years. And he was telling me he felt that he only had maybe another 3-4 years of running and gunning in him. He's actually older than me. Yeah, I know, it's pretty hard to believe. But, you know, his answer was, I'm like, well, what are you going to do after that? He said, I'm going to sit with you at the field kitchen. He says, you got enough to spot me? And he mentioned another impression that he doesn't normally do, but he knows I like doing that impression a lot of times when I cook. I'm like, yeah, I got enough extra kit to spot you if you want to just come out and sit in the kitchen. No problem. The whole idea, folks, is if you can get people to start registering ahead of time, if you can get the numbers correct, you can start adding all the cool logistical things that add to the authenticity. Rations add to the authenticity, 100%, especially if you're going that extra mile to make the rations, the food, exactly the way it's supposed to be. You know, a lot of soups, a lot of porridges. It doesn't take rocket science, folks. But everybody's worried about the minutia, the minor details. How this was sewn together, how that was attached. You're worried about all that for a soldier's experience. Let me tell you what, soldiers didn't give a shit what they were issued. And yeah, the authenticity and what they got issued is important from an authentic standpoint. As far as the experience, no. The experience has nothing to do with how your shoes are put together. It has nothing about whether you have rivets or stitches in your ammo pouches. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that. It has to do with you got fed and now you're getting a fucking artillery barrage on your position while you're eating. It has to do with you're patrolling down the road in the fucking middle of the night to check and see if you run into the enemy lines, and all of a sudden flares go up and you have your ass handed to you. That's what the experience is about. Being tired, being aggravated, hot, sweaty, cold, freezing, all these things. Yet those are the things that a lot of events fudge on. I will tell you one thing, when I used to hold events, I made sure that I had a meal. And it wasn't hard to provide food. And it wasn't hard to make the food part of the scenario. Make your guys go out and they have to come to the kitchen. They have to fill up their Essen Tragers if you're German, or if you're Soviet, Kettlewalk. You had to fill those up and pack them back to your troops. Water resupply in the field. These are all real things. These are, I'm sure this is pretty mundane compared to your running and gunning. I'm sure that you don't give much thought to it, but those are the everyday experiences of a soldier. And if you're wanting to reenact, you need to reenact these things, because that has more to do with being a soldier than whether you've got a chain stitch or a zigzag stitch in your breast eagle. And don't get me wrong, there is a right and wrong way to do that. And, you know, that's great. Everybody should do it right. But if you're going to obsess over that and you're not going to obsess over eating a tactical chow in the field, you got your priorities a little messed up, dude. You got your priorities a little messed up. And really, guys, you have to look at it like this. I understand that there are some of you folks that are living history troopers. You don't really understand tactics. You really don't understand your weapons. But you'd love to sit in a fucking hole all day and eat fucking moldy fucking stale bread. Hey, man, if that's what you want, more power to you. I'll dig you a hole in my backyard and I'll light you up. Not a problem. There are other folks that lean more, you know, you got the other end of it. I don't care what my uniform looks like at all. Yeah, well, I got flecked arm pants, that's close enough to 44 dot, who just want to go out and blast gaps and have a good time. Fucking waste ammo, fucking sneak up on people, all that happy shit. Then you got other people like me, who I believe that you should come looking the best you can, as close as you can, not worry about anybody fucking else's impression. And at the end of the day, I want to show some tactical proficiency, and I want to show you that I can put a fucking hurt to you. I don't understand this whole concept of we are going to fudge on the authenticity of what a battle looked like. We're going to fudge by being outnumbered when you shouldn't be outnumbered. We're going to fudge on all this other shit. We're not going to allow weapons that were actually in a theater, that are proven to be in a theater, but we'll allow gross amounts of either captured weaponry or fantasy shit in other aspects of the battle. The subjective bullshit is really just fucking over the top anymore. And I realize everybody has their pet peeves, and everybody's gonna have their pet peeves. But just because you don't like something, but it's documented, doesn't give you a right to fucking ban it. It doesn't give you a right to say piss on it. I'm not. And if you're hosting the event and you don't want to have it, hey, that's great. That's great. Don't expect people to fucking shut up, though. They're going to tell you, hey, you're wrong. And when you say, well, don't come to my event, well, they won't come to your event. That's not a problem. It's just like if people don't like how I feed. You know, I'll be the first to admit, there have been times I have placed safety over authenticity. I've had water containers in camp that weren't fucking correct just because I wanted to make sure I didn't have anybody fucking die. Now, anybody can say a lot of things they want about my events. Nobody's ever got bad water. Nobody's ever went down with a heat stroke or anything else because of lack of water. And my people were taken care of. And I mean, that's part of the logistics. That's part of how you're supposed to set shit up. There has to be a happy medium. It can't all be fucking mud fucking holes, trench foot, and fucking stale bread. It also can't be all the time run and gun. And it can't be all this. It has to be a blending if you're going to have an event that's successful. And once again, the event organizers and the command staff have a very, very strong hand to play in this. Command staff, you can say, hey, look, guys, I don't necessarily like the way you're doing this to the event coordinators, and tell them, hey, look, this is what I got a problem with. You know, you've got to advocate for your guys. You have to be able to advocate for your side. You're going to have to say, look, my guys need this, my guys need that. Hey, you're letting this other side get way too many people. You know, you're going to fucking chase my guys all over the fucking battlefield, beat the fuck out of them, and beat them up. Now, if you fucking tap those numbers and cap them and keep them fucking reasonable, guess what? You're going to have more events. What do you mean I'm going to have more events? Well, let's say we have some of those Aryan gods that don't want to fucking do Soviet. And they didn't make that last event. They really wanted to go, but they didn't get the registration in time, and they missed. And they sure as hell weren't going to wear Red Army shit. They sure as hell weren't going to do partisan. Well, now they can hold their own event. And there'll be another small event with a number of Soviets. And you get to go to another event. You don't know what to tell you. I would rather do 3 or 4 small, good events than one giant fucked up shit show. That's just the way I work, dude. That's just what I'm thinking about, and that's how things go. Well, let me talk to you guys later. I got to where I'm going for the morning, so bye.